welcome Mr. Cam Porter.
Y'all ever been stabbed? It's not a threat. I'm genuinely curious. I was stabbed one time. It sucked. I'll tell you what happened. I used to be kind of a bad dude. I used to, much like Trevor's father, I used to sell drugs. Nothing major. I was just sold weed in high school. But if you wanted weed in the shitty little town of Bixby, Oklahoma, I was your fucking hookup. And it was me and my buddies, and we had a little weed empire going, and apparently we ran the foul of the local drug impresarios of the neighboring town of Leonard, and they didn't like us encroaching on their territory, so it turned into like a fucking full-on drug war. It was like if the Bloods and the Crips thing happened, but the Bloods were a bunch of methed out rednecks, and the Crips were a bunch of sad goth kids. And it all came to a head one day in the middle of the sod field, because that's all there fucking is. And we showed up, it was my group and their group showed up, and kind of like met on opposite sides of the field, and they sent out their biggest guy, which is, an intimidation tactic. You send out like the biggest guy, he looks tough and might scare the other people off. And I was the biggest guy of my group of friends, so I had to go out to meet the challenge. The problem is, I'm not a tough guy at all. Like, I know I look like Fat Thor, but like, I fucking tear up when I see a cute puppy. So, I know if I go out and I meet this guy face to face and it gets into a fight, he's gonna whip my ass. But I can talk. I think I can talk shit to him and demoralize him and like maybe get under his skin a little bit. So I got all this confidence that I'm gonna go out there and I'm just gonna dress him down and make him look weak in front of his friends. And I go out and I walk out, we meet face to face. I look back at my group and give him a little wink, like, watch this shit. And I turn around and then he fucking stabbed me in the pelvis. Which is a weird place to get stabbed, right? Like, I think you're gonna go for the chest or the neck, but he threw like underhand softball style. Shanked me in the hip. And I don't remember what happened after this because I had just been stabbed. I went into shock. But according to what my friends say, the only reason I can think that I would say this is that the shock of getting stabbed and the proximity of the stabbing to my junk, I apparently turned around to my friends, dropped to my knees, and yelled, "He cut my fucking dick off!" They all scattered. And I woke up in my friend's house with my pants off and they had super glued the wound closed. Because they can't take me to a hospital because they would have to report that shit to the cops. And as cool as it would be to have stabbed in a drug war on my record, I'm kind of glad they did because that would have raised problems down the line. But it was at that moment I was like, okay, I gotta change my ways. I gotta stop doing this shit. And I did. I turned my life around. I got better, got out of that life, and I moved on. And everything was fine until a few years later when a friend of mine started dating this guy and she introduced me to him. And I meet him and I recognized it instantly. It was one of the fucking rednecks that was there when I got my dick cut off. And I recognized him instantly. He didn't recognize me. I didn't think he did because my hair was short at the time and I'd gotten way fatter. And I'm like, I look completely different. There's no way he recognized me. I'm not going to bring it up. That life is behind me. It's in the past. No point dredging that up. And it was fine. We hung out for a few months. Everything was good. He was a cool dude. We bonded over some shit. And then one night at a house party, I was sitting there talking to somebody, and he sits down next to me. And the music was going. And I couldn't really hear very well. And he leans in. And he goes, "Hey, man, I just wanted to say I'm sorry." And I go, "Huh?" And then the music dropped out. And he goes, "I'm sorry I cut your dick off." So I had to get a whole new group of friends. Anybody here got kids? Any parents in the audience? Yeah, you guys are stupid. Kids are the fucking worst. I can't stand them. I don't have any myself, thank God. I do have a niece and a couple of nephews, and one of my nephews he's at that age now where he's growing up. Things are starting to happen to his body, and he's not really quite sure what they mean. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. I went over to visit my brother and his family, and my nephew came running up to me, and he goes, Uncle Trash Boat, Uncle Trash Boat. He calls me Uncle Trash Boat. I haven't figured it out yet. He goes, Uncle Trash Boat. I say, what's up, buddy? He says, guess what I got? I said, what'd you get? And he goes, I got strong penis. Huh? He goes, strong penis. And my brother came running up and he's like, don't fucking tell people that. And he explained to me that's just what he calls his erection. And it's, it's a perfectly fine thing. It's just a funny, innocent thing from the naive mind of a child. But it's also what I'm going to call every boner I have from now until the day I die. His strong penis is fucking rad.
To my 35-year-old dad.
What?
Can I ask my 35-year-old dad if he gets that?
Do you want to ask your son about his erections? Your 35-year-old son?
I'm still waiting for a grandchild.
Listen, do you know what he was like in high school? Maybe he got his dick cut off. I don't know these things. Trevor was talking about being a Mexican, and I work in landscaping. I work with a lot of Mexican guys, and it's great, it's fine. I like them all, but I do notice that a lot of the times, overly sensitive white people will try and not, they'll try and skirt the subject when they're talking about Mexican people. And this lady came into work one time, and she was looking at our products, and I was showing her around, and she was like, yeah, my yard's getting so big, I might have to hire a Mexican to come and help me out. Just swear to God, a Mexican. And my coworker, who was with me at the time, afterwards, he was like, is it racist to call somebody a Mexican? He's like, it fucking is if you say it like this. A Mexican. You don't have to put any stank on it. Recently in my life, at the age of 32, I started playing D&D for the first time. Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons, yeah, because apparently I looked in the mirror and thought, no, you know what, I can be more unattractive. Because what's more appealing to women than a 32-year-old fat guy, but a 32-year-old fat guy who in his spare time pretends to be a sprightly wood elf, prancing through the halls of Neverwinter on a curse to find the vampire strive. My favorite part about that joke is there's always one bigger nerd in the audience. Like, you don't go to Neverwinter in the Curse of Strahd. Takes place in a different realm. Anybody got cats and cat people? You're stupider than the kid people. Cats are the fucking worst. I hate cats. The only thing I hate worse than cats are cat owners. Because cat owners always try and fucking sell you on how great cats are. That's always the same bullshit. It's cats. No, cats, you guys. Cats are so much better than dogs, you guys. Cats don't just give you their respect. They make you earn it. If that's such a desirable trait, how come nobody says that about their children? Nobody's ever like, oh, my little Timmy, I love him so much, he doesn't respect me at all. I tell him to clean his room and he calls me a bitch. He's the best. If you came home and your human child was pissing on your bed because he was mad at you, you'd have that kid fucking committed. But with a cat, he's like, oh, he's just mad because he doesn't work all day. But what sells me the most when it comes to the cats versus dogs debate is that if you have a cat and you get injured, if you have a dog's gonna go for help. It's gonna find help, or at least it's gonna sit by you and comfort you until help comes along. A cat is gonna sit at the top of the fridge and meow at you until you're dead. And then it's gonna fucking eat you. Fuck cats. I mean, that's the roundabout. Some of y'all might remember this. Sonic, America's drive-thru. They used to have a commercial, a promotion on their commercials where they said, come in and we'll put chili and cheese on anything on the menu. Chili cheese tater tots, done. Chili cheese cheeseburger, you fat fuck, we'll do it. Me and my friends one night, we see this commercial and we decide to take them up on that offer. We go to Sonic and we sit on a little picnic table outside and I push the button. And lady comes on, hi, welcome to Sonic, how can I help you? I said, yeah, I have a question. On your commercials, it says you'll put chili and cheese on anything on the menu. Is that accurate? And with a hint of trepidation, she said, yes, that's accurate. And I said, okay. Can I get a vanilla milkshake with chili and cheese in it? And there was a long pause. And then finally she came back with the best response you could have in this situation. She said, you can, but are you sure you want to? And I was like, yeah. And the best part about it, Sonic, they've got like the big bay windows so you can see like the making the food. And they've got like the prep area here, and they got a screen up here that shows the order. And we just saw the guy at the milkshake machine. Fuck it, and he went and put a bunch of chili and cheese in it. And then fucking 12 employees all came out with one tiny little milkshake, like, delivering the drink to the king, my liege. Have you ever been in a situation where you've built something up in your mind so much it'll never live up to your expectations? You've thought about it, you've planned for it so much, and it can never possibly live up to what you think it's going to be? This wasn't one of those times. That thing was fucking disgusting. The hot shit inside of cold shit. It was like licking the inside of a diaper. I wouldn't recommend it, is what I'm trying to say. See a lot of tattoos in the audience, a lot of tattoo fans. I have a lot of tattoos. I enjoy tattoos. I enjoy talking to people about their tattoos. I like hearing the stories, why they got them and everything, but I hate there's one specific type of person that you always meet that has one tattoo, and it's the most important thing in the goddamn world to them. And it's always the same shit, and then they have to tell you this harrowing story. But yeah, it's an infinity symbol, and it turns into birds. It's for my grandma. She was a Holocaust survivor and a cancer survivor, and she competed in the 1927 Winter Olympics in the pole vaulting competition, but then she lost her legs when the helicopter she was piloting in Vietnam crashed. And then they look at you like, okay, your turn. You tell me a harrowing story. But the problem is none of my tattoos fucking mean anything. It's just dumb shit that I like. So I gotta be like, yeah, I got it's a can of crab juice. From the episode of The Simpsons where Homer drank crab juice. It's my grandma's favorite episode. Like I said, I got a couple of nephews, and it's real. It is, as much as I don't like kids, it's cool watching them grow up, and watching them, develop friendships and bond with their friends and everything. And I noticed my oldest nephew. I realized there's something that he's going to miss out on, which was, for me at least, a very important bonding moment when I was a young child. I'm sure most men over the age of 24 here have that same experience, which is found porn. Every guy has a story of the first time they found a porno mag somewhere in the wild. And it's always a very similar story. It's 8th grade, you and your friends walking home from school. That weird kid Ricky from down the street comes up to you and he's like, hey guys, you want to see something cool? And he leads you to a dumpster behind the old Homeland grocery store. And there's a torn up Penthouse magazine in there. And we all stare at it. We're all too afraid to touch it. Like somehow our parents would know. And you come home and your mom's like, what's that on your hand? Boy, that's titty ink. You've been looking at titty magazines. I don't know why my mom sounds like a stereotypical black woman. And it's an important moment for young men. It's something to bond over. It's growing. But now, these younger generations, with the prevalence of the internet, that's something they're going to miss out on. But then I thought, I could be the guy. I could be the guy that leaves the porn places. Nobody ever talks about that guy. That unsung hero. So I decided when my nephew's a little older, I'm going to follow him and his friends around, and I'm just going to leave Playboys. I'm find their place. Like some weird urban Johnny Appleseed. Johnny Appleseed, if you will. And I want it to spread. I want him to tell his friends, and they tell their friends. I want to become like a local legend, like the porn family. I want a bunch of kids to get together after school behind the Quick Trip. They each leave an offering, like a single pudding pack. And they go home and come back the next day, and the pudding's gone, and a stack of vintage Playboys on the place. They're all freaking out. God bless you, porn family. And I'm across the street in the Episcopalian church parking lot, beard covered in pudding. And Godspeed, kids. It's a weird goal to have, right? Be the guy who leaves porn for children. I don't care. I love my nephew. I want to be happy. I'm gonna tell you guys one more story. It's kind of a gross story. The story is about when I lost my virginity, and I was 15 years old. I lost my virginity to a drunk 30-year-old woman at a house party. Hold on, save that, because you're gonna regret that in a minute. I was at this party. I started to get a migraine, and so I went to look for a place to lie down, and I finally find an empty bedroom, and I go and I flop down on the bed. I'm just laying there, my head's throbbing, the music's pounding outside, and I don't know how long I'm laying there, but after a little while, the door flies open, and this woman comes in. I say woman. At this point, she was just a bag of alcohol loosely held together with tight clothing. And she's just standing in the doorway, and I'm laying spread out on the bed, and I'm frozen. I'm wondering if she sees me. I was going through a goth phase at the time, which is sadly the least horrific part of the story. After a minute, she closed the door, and she trundles on over next to me and slouches down on the bed, and she looks over at me, and I look at her, and she goes, "Hey." And I go, "Hi." She goes, "You're kind of cute. Do you want to make out?" Keep in mind, I was 15 years old. I'd never kissed a girl before. I'd never even held a girl's hand. So of course I was like, "Yeah, okay." So we start making out. We kiss for a little bit. Then it happens. She reaches down and she grabs my dick. I had strong penis at the time. And this, much like the found porn, is a very important moment in every man's life. This is a big milestone for us. It's something we all hold dear in our lives, the first time someone else touches our boner. And every guy reacts to it differently. I blacked out. Some combination of the migraine and the excitement caused my brain to do a hard reboot. And I came to, and my pants were off, and she was lowering herself onto me. And I was like, all right. I have no idea where I am, but all right. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just like pawing at her tits. No idea. And I was in. I was officially lost my virginity. It was, an important moment. And we went at it for, it was my first time, so I don't know, 3 seconds. And I feel that moment of climax building. I feel that eruption coming. I feel that those emotions stirring. I'd never felt this before. I had no idea what was happening or what to do. I had no idea what to say. So as I came, I just yelled out, "I love you!" The worst possible thing you could say. And she was a trooper. She climbed up and she's like, "Okay," and she walked out. I never fucking learned her name, nothing. And the epilogue to this story, and I honestly don't know if this is funny or not, because I tell people this and some people laugh, and others just look at me with infinite sadness in their eyes. But of all the women I've been with since then, any woman I've dated, any woman I've slept with, any woman I've been romantically involved with in any way, shape, or form, she's the only one I've ever said I love you to. That's just really nice. Thank you so much.